I see here this spring Tigue. This is the third in a set of videos I've made concerning the controversial call in the December 17th game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. It's time to have a serious conversation because what's fair is fair. Let me first start out by saying, one, congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers for finishing 14-2, the #1 seed in the playoffs, although the officiating and the way the games were seeded don't illustrate that. And you can make the arguments, well, it was left to the game. A lot of times these championships are determined by how the playoffs are seeded, who takes on who, and ultimately who advances. I want to read something from my last change.org update, but before I do that, I want to let it be known that all the people that have reviewed the James play and also have looked at this petition and have signed it, I am grateful. I believe it's the right thing to do, it's a fair thing to do, and I'm not going to stop until I'm dead and buried, because what's right is right, and we need to do something about this, not just for the Steelers, but for every single team, and I will get to that in just a minute. First, this update, I'm going to read it verbatim. Over the weekend, my worst fears were predicted and realized. The New England Patriots got the easiest route to the Super Bowl. It ended up crushing the Tennessee Titans. Further, the Pittsburgh Steelers took on a formidable adversary and ended up bowing at the end 45-42. However, these events in history were not what was meant to occur, with the obvious blown call in the Steeler-Patriot game on December 17th. All the playoff seedings that were supposed to happen went through the window. New England ended up with the overall #1 seed. As a result, the Steelers missed out on playing the Titans, while New England should have played the Jaguars. Were that to happen, there's a little question in my mind that history would have sung a new song, one fair to all the teams. Now I begin in earnest my challenge to take on the NFL. Fear of such a big conglomerate has never entered my mind. These inconsistent calls throughout the season, culminating in a call in the Steeler-Patriot game, has pretty much shaped what apparently the NFL desires. I've come to admit that there may even be a hidden bias that favors the Patriots. I'm going to stop there. Like I said, I want to thank the people that have sided with me, that have looked at this play and believed that the Steelers were wrong, that was a catch. I also want to say, if James in one motion had gotten the ball and went down, you will have no trouble if he doesn't survive the ground. That's not a catch, but that's not the way it happened. He grabs the ball, pulled it into him, went to his knees, went down. If that's not a touchdown, come on. You know, people are ignoring what exactly the facts were. As a result, all these seedings changed, and I shared the disdain and the sadness of Steeler fans, because if they would have played Tennessee, I believe things would have been a lot different. When Jacksonville would have gone up to New England, I believe them pounding. New England may have still won, I don't know. But the Steelers would have been ready. This is how history was made. And it's not just that particular call with Jesse James. Go back to week 3 when Cooks made what appeared to be a reception, but he went out of bounds. The ball dropped. It didn't survive the ground. Yet that ball, that call was not overturned. You go back to the Jets and the Bills on a couple of other occasions where there were touchdowns that were taken away because it appeared that the receiver lost control. I did not see that on the video. It'll get me to my point. At the end of this video, intend to make a direct comment to the commissioner of the NFL. I'm going to plead to him. You get those plays, you get those inconsistent calls. It even goes to additional calls in the playoffs that I saw. One, the Ramsey alleged interception against the Bills. If you look at that play, the ball touched the ground. Where did they get that was a reset, that was a completed pass? Given that, if you would have called it right, it touched the ground. Almost similar if you called the James play. But they didn't uphold the James play. They overturned it. Along with that, what really disturbed me was a compadre, an associate work, showed me the play from the Atlanta-Philadelphia game. The defender was all over Jones's back, pushed him, he went down. That's the reason he fell. No pass interference was called. He got back up, and he couldn't make the catch. Why? Because he was interfered with. Come on. These inconsistencies are so much of a challenge on this game that you do not know. You cannot argue with me that you can tell me for sure who the best team in football is. I will say it till I'm blue in the face, given the same set of circumstances, that if that play, with James would have been upheld, or the touchdown, they would have won the Patriot game. The seeding would have been different. I believe they would still be alive in the playoffs, and that's why I'm disgruntled. If that call would have been made earlier in the game, or even earlier in the season, I may not take an issue, but the timing of all these plays, how can you not assume that there's some kind of bias that these officials have? So with that being said, my Change.org petition currently has 4,465 signatures. That's 4,465 people that side with me. I believe that's a lot of people. And that doesn't count the people that I've talked to that don't have a computer, that don't have the ability to sign, but would if they had an opportunity. That being said, with all these inconsistencies, I am advocating a full and complete boycott of further NFL proceedings this year and next year until the commissioner and the NFL gets their act together. If you take a car to a garage, you expect them to tell you what's wrong with it and to fix it. It seems to me there is something broken here, and I don't want to have any part of it. If I have to take this step alone, I will proceed alone, because I don't need football to live. Other people may. But do you want it riddled with unfairness and inconsistencies? Join me. Share this petition. Sign it if you haven't. Share it if you haven't. Talk to people. I'm diligent and firm in my commitment that what's right is right. Like I said, if it were one motion, him bringing the ball down, he goes to the ground and then can't hold on to the ball when that's an incomplete pass. But that didn't happen in James' game. He grabbed it and took it down. The last thing I want to say, this is directed to the NFL executives along with the commissioner himself. If you cannot get beyond this replay havoc that's called, throw it away. Train the officials to make the right call on the field. Well, you need that too, even with the instant replay. But this instant replay is doing more to damage the game. I will no longer be a fan until these issues are rectified. That being said, if you have replay, you need to have people that are trained in the multiple, there are millions of hypotheticals that you can come up with. The fact of the matter is, if a certain play does not fit that hypothetical, Commissioner Goodell, have those officials say the instinct of the official on the field called it a touchdown, like in the James case. Defer to that decision. Because then you'll have conflict, and you have people like me that look at that play. What's fair? It's fair. That was a catch. It was a reception. It was a touchdown. It changed the very fairness and fundamental integrity of the game. Commissioner Goodell, please share my plea and the plea of other people. Ryan Shazier, Max Kellerman, former Vice President of Officiating, Mike Pereira, do something about this. Show me. Get us back to where we used to be, where we never had these controversies. Through the 70s, through the 80s. Where was the bad calls? They were not existent. It was fair. The officials knew what they were doing. That being said, those people keep signing and sharing my petition. Join my boycott with me. I will have no problems. I prefer to watch movies anyway. That being said, I'm starting to run out of time. I appreciate all those that listen to this video, especially you, Commissioner, who have the cards in your hands. And if your bias is toward craft, overcome that for the very soundness and the fairness and integrity of the game. Or else you will lose a lot of fans. And if I were a business owner, I would not want to lose fans. That being said, if anybody wants to communicate with me, you can find me on Facebook. My name's Frank. Tigue, the petitions at change.org. I will make a note in here, and I will leave you with that. And thanks for your time.